Have you ever gone into a brewery and then got that beer pressure? Like you don't know what you're going to drink at a brewery, but they're used to seeing folks that really don't know much about craft brew. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, good and you.
Good.
Can I interest you in a beer?
Sure. Let me just take a look here.
What kind of beer styles do you like?
I brew beer, so I'm just looking around.
Oh, really? And is that going to be hazy beers?
Maybe. Just trying to look.
What are you going to get? We got a nice black IPA on deck. We got a wet hopped IPA or a farmer's market blackberry sour. The young kids seem to like the sours.
I guess I'll go with the IPA.
The IPA sounds good. There we go.
Oh, thank you very much.
Enjoy. And
Nothing like a beer at 9 a.m. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Cityscape Brewing. I'm here with my friend Adrian, and we are brewing up Beer Pressure.
hey guys.
We are brewing up an IPA that we did with our fantasy draft. He is part of our home brewing club here south of Charlotte, and we do a fantasy draft every year where we draft ingredients like you would players in a fantasy draft. So one of the fun things is that once somebody chooses an ingredient, like a player, you can't choose that ingredient for a different team. So we were able to draft ingredients, and we'll go through what recipe and how we put that recipe together. After you guys hit that like and subscribe button, grab yourself a beer. We're gonna get after it. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, I know you guys all hit that subscribe button because you're awesome, and you hit that like button because it helps out the channel a lot. But if you really, really want to be awesome, hit that join button below and become a channel member. Members enjoy awesome perks like some exclusive recipes, my brew day sheets to help you along the way and take some notes, and you get to watch my videos early before anybody else. So hit that join button and become awesome. All right, so as we were doing our fantasy draft, we chose an order, and then we as a team were able to pick our ingredients. And Adrian, what did we get?
So our first ingredient of a total of 9 ingredients that we needed to get, we selected Pilsner as our base malt, nice clean malt there to start off with. So then the second malt that we got down on the list was Carapils. That's going to add to a nice little bit of body and head retention and foam retention. Then we had one that we didn't exactly select. We got it selected out of a hat, which was our non-malted grain, which we selected Flaked Barley. And then we chose the 2 hops that we selected was Cascade and Mosaic. That was next up on the list of ingredients. And then we had 3 brewer's choice that were required. One of them was an additional hop that we're using as our bittering hop, which is Magnum. Very standard bittering hop. And then we got a little bit of Crystal Malt 60 for a little bit of color, and 6 row, which is kind of not used very often these days, but pretty good base malt for us to add into our recipe. And then the yeast that we selected, which is a pretty easygoing generic yeast, is Omega's OYL West Coast Ale 1.
And for that one, we actually couldn't find the West Coast Ale 1, so we actually went with the West Coast Ale 2, which is very similar to the other one, but because our homebrew supply store was out of the other ones and we'd like to support local, we went ahead and just got the West Coast Ale 2. The main difference is that it is a little bit extra fruitiness in the back end if it is fermented at a higher temperature. And so for this one, we might actually back that down so we don't get as much, so it's very similar to the West Coast Ale 1 yeast that we were intending to use. So with that grain bill, we're gonna go ahead and mash at about 148 degrees. That's gonna keep this kind of light, clean, and crisp, and more of that dry aftertaste. And that's gonna also let those hops kind of shine through too. We don't want this to be overly malty. We chose these fermentables on purpose to be on that lighter side. And so this is gonna hopefully let this be clean, crisp, dry, and let those hops really shine through.
Let's hope so.
As always, I add 4 grams of ascorbic acid into the mash also, which helps preserve that beer. Super easy, cheap, and simple, and helps kind of prevent oxidation from your first pint to your last one. All right, so we are done with our mash. It's been 60 minutes. We actually, for the last 10 minutes, heated this thing up to 170. That helps with the viscosity, helps rinse those grains of those good sugars that we want in the boil. And now we're gonna go ahead and get this basket pulled up and drain. So we're gonna go ahead and shut off our pump and our heat for the time being. We're gonna close off our valve here. Adrian, you wanna hit the valve that comes from the pump as well and turn that off? And then we're gonna go ahead and pull this basket. So rather than pulling this thing up by hand, this thing's really easy. We're just gonna hook this up and Adrian's gonna do the pulling of the basket. Use that muscle, use that muscle.
Good?
Yeah, yep, just leave it just like that, it'd be perfect. And then the water is just draining down the sides and in there, and we'll let that sit for a little bit and get all that sweet, sweet wort. A few moments later.
Still here, guys.
Yes, we're still here. We just drained the basket. That's the only reason we were gone. All right, so we're almost up to a boil. We did add some firm cap S in here to help prevent some boil overs. We have this thing heating up at 100% as I normally do. Change this to a percentage by pushing this AM button. As it starts boiling, which it's starting to do right now, we're gonna go ahead and turn this thing down to 63%, which is about the magic number for my system here by, again, keeping it on the AM button. And then turning this down to 63. And that will keep it at a nice consistent boil. As you can already tell, we're starting to get that boil going. So once we're safe to assume that we're not gonna get a boil over, we will throw in those Magnum bittering hops in just a moment and get that bee out of my face. I'm too sweet. I can't even brew here. Oh my God, killer bees! We got bees, they're everywhere, and they're sting crazy.
Bees! Bees in the car! Bees everywhere! Save yourself! Don't be the hero! They're huge and they're sting crazy!
For our hops, very standard, very nice clean bittering with 1 ounce of Magnum up front at 60 minutes.
All right.
First edition of Magnum.
Only edition of Magnum,
True.
but bittering edition.
That's
And
bittering
now
edition.
we set our timer for 60 minutes and go.
At 15 minutes would be our next edition of 1/2 ounce of Cascade that we were gonna do.
At about 10 minutes, we're gonna do a Whirlflock tablet, which will help with clarity of the beer. And then we're also gonna add about a tablespoon of yeast nutrient, which will help get that yeast off and running.
And then towards the end, with 5 minutes to go, we're gonna add for a little bit of aroma and flavor, we're gonna add 1 ounce of Mosaic.
All right, now we're almost done with the boil. We've added our last hop additions. We're gonna go ahead and put in our whirlpool arms. Since we're using a bunch of hops, including right at flame out here, this will help stir around that wort and circulate it and create a nice tight hop cone in the bottom of it so we don't transfer that into our fermenter. So we're hooking this up. It's also going through a counterflow chiller, and that's gonna help prevent it from getting clogged. So if any of those hops originally start getting through the cooling system, it will not clog because it has a little bit more of a surface area or a larger tubing inside of the counterflow chiller to not get a stuck chiller. So the plate chiller, if you're using one, may get a stuck. So you may want to use like a hop spider like this one in order to not get a stuck chiller. But in this case, we're going to use the counterflow chiller because we have it available.
And then pretty much with 1 minute left or at flame out of the beer, we're gonna be doing 1 ounce each of Cascade and Mosaic.
Last rounds of
Last
hops.
edition.
Whoop whoop. Cascade, Mosaic goodness going in. All right, and with that, we are done with the boil, so we're gonna go ahead and shut off the heat. We have our whirlpool arm in there. If you wanna hit the pump for me, Adrian.
Will do.
I'm gonna go ahead and start that.
Good.
Yep. Oh, probably help turn on the water, huh? Yeah. All right, guys, we got our wort in our fermenter. We're gonna go ahead and add our tilt hydrometer. We're gonna add this to the tilt Pico. If you haven't watched that video, I'm gonna have it linked in the video description below. This is gonna send automatically to the cloud every 15 minutes. It's an awesome little addition to your brew, and go check out that video if you haven't seen it. This is the blue tilt. I'm gonna add that in there, and we're gonna see where we are temperature-wise before we pitch our yeast reading on the tilt app in a second after it kind of gets acclimated. But we're also gonna add our dry hops at this time. So I've wrapped those in a mesh paint strainer bag with 2 sous vide magnets, and I have the other 2 that we're gonna leave on the outside. So I put those right on the inside of the fermenter, and then I magnet those up towards the top, and it stays like this until we are ready to dry hop. So we got our dry hops in here now. We're gonna wait until fermentation is completely done. Once that's done, we're gonna pull these magnets off, and then we are going to let those dry hops do their thing for about 5 days post-fermentation before we go ahead and cold crash this thing and keg it. And then we'll be back to taste this thing. But in the meantime, we're gonna make sure that our wort is at the right temperature before we pitch our yeast, which is, again, Omega's West Coast Ale 2. It's OYL 009. And then once that gets all done, we'll be back to taste this thing, huh?
Gonna be exciting.
You want to try a beer?
Sure.
All right, we'll see you guys then. Cheers. All right, you guys, today is the day. Our beer pressure beer is done. We are going to pour a glass and see how it is. And you might notice our friend Adrian couldn't make it for the tasting. He did try this beer during a competition, and we did get second place in our Homebrew Club's competition for our fantasy draft, so that was awesome. But I didn't want you, my viewers, to be able to miss Adrian's reaction, so I'm gonna do my best to make it seem like he's actually here. But first, let's pour a glass and we'll go through it. What do you think of that, Adrian? Sounds good, let's do it. All right, and there it is. It is a nice, pretty clear, nice frothy head, great looking light IPA. And one thing you'll notice right away is that it has this nice persistent head on there, and that actually helps me think a little bit about how you would get head retention in the future, and that is definitely that flaked barley that's in here. And so even for my hazies, which I usually use flaked oats, I definitely will start using some flaked barley in there because I think that helped tremendously. It actually held on to some haze actually too for a few weeks, but that head retention is spot on. If Adrian were here, he'd probably be like, yeah, mate, that's a good looking beer there. I'm pretty much nailing the accent. So let's go through, see what it smells like, see what it tastes like, and would I brew this beer again? Let's check it out. Right off the bat, you get all those citrusy aromas from those hops, just like you want this beer to taste like. Those Mosaic hops really play well with this one, and you can really pick those out even in the aroma. And it's low on that malt, which is expected because we really didn't want those to really shine through. There is a little bit of Crystal 60, but that color is absolutely amazing. It's a nice golden color, but nothing too malty. So let's go in for the taste and see how we did. Oh yeah, that's a cool, crisp, refreshing, crushable beer. And those hops just have just amount of that bitterness and that citrus flavor that really balances very, very well. I am very happy with how this turned out. And again, so were the folks who tasted it because we actually got second place in our fantasy draft. I think those Mosaic hops and that Cascade really plays well together in this one, and it's not overly complicated with a lot of hops. Sometimes less is more, right? And of course, that West Coast ale yeast that we always use for some of these more citrusy, hop-forward beers really worked really well with this one. Now, what would Adrian say if he was here? Probably something like, yeah, I agree. You're literally the best brewer ever. You should really teach me everything that you know about beer and brewing because I really need the help. No, Adrian, come on now. You're not that bad of a brewer. You've won a few medals, but yeah, thank you. No, actually, he thought this beer was fantastic. I'm really happy that he got to be a part of this video and brew it with me. It was really, really a lot of fun, and I'll be sharing a lot more of this with him. So with that, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. As always, that entire recipe is going to be in the video description below, so go and check that out. And with that, happy brewing, and cheers. Hey, thanks for watching my video. You're awesome. You want to be even more awesome? Hit that join button and become a member. You'll get exclusive members-only recipes and other perks like Brew Day sheets, and watch my videos early as they drop before anyone else. So hit that join button below, become a member, and be awesome.